I request leaders like Rahul Gandhi to go around and look at the academic, social, and the health service related impacts NEET had made, not just only from the perspective of irregularities and only from the perspective of scandal and the corruption. It is tip of the iceberg. Rahul Gandhi should voice for total elimination and scrap of the NEET once for all from the country and thrown out of this country.
Hello and welcome to the IDEM Risala Update Interactions. We are in the midst of a turbulent period in India's educational system, especially at the level of entrance examinations like the NEET. And the Union Health Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, who initially, when all these cases about NEET were coming out, who initially started by saying that there is no scam. Then he said there are some irregularities. And then now we have got into a situation where the head of this NEET examinations has been removed from that position. One government in India, the Tamil Nadu state government, has been talking about the irregularities and the problems in the NEET examination system right from 2021 onwards. And Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam Red government had also set up a special committee under Justice AK Rajan. And today, we have a member of that committee, Professor Jawahar Nesan, who is also a former Vice Chancellor. And that committee had very strongly recommended the abolition of NEET. Professor Jawahar Nesan, welcome to the IDEM Risala Update Interactions.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, you were part of this committee, and I'm told that you are one of the persons who had a very important contribution in the preparation of this Justice AK Rajan committee report of 2021-22. And you had recommended the abolition of the NEET, saying that, it was only enhancing or aggravating the disparities within the student community, especially among the affluent students and the non-affluent students. But when NEET was originally brought in, the argument was that, that just looking at the marks of the plus 2 examinations was not good enough criteria. And you need to have a national level examination to look at the merit of the students who are getting into these professional courses. So how do you compare both these arguments?
Actually, that the Parliamentary Standing Committee 92nd report, when it reviewed the medical examination, not exactly medical examination, it is commercialization of medical examinations. When it reviewed and it recommended, there must be a national level common examination to enter into medical admissions. So that was the recommendation. So primarily it was aimed to eradicate commercialization, ever-increasing commercialization of medical education. And prior to that, the medical admission was based on the higher secondary marks at the state level. And at the national level quota, when students from the other boards of examination like IB or CBSE contest for state quota, and there was some normalization techniques used to put a relative scoring accordingly. Admission was happening. But afterwards, based on the committee's report, initially they introduced the national entrance cum eligibility cum entrance test, that NEET. And when they introduced, they said that it is primarily aimed to eradicate commercialization. Whereas now, if you could look at the commercialization before and after, at the beginning, at the earlier time before NEET, it was only the commercialization was in terms of the capitation fee. The people were charging about, in Tamil Nadu, for instance, about 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs rupees per year. But whereas the capitation fee indirectly they levied was more than 50 lakhs rupees. And it was unknown, it was under the table deal. But now, officially, the medical institutions are charging, the private institutions are charging about 30 lakhs, minimum 25 lakhs per year. So that means compared to the pre-NEET and the after NEET, it looks like the commercialization has increased. And also, a student who wants to contest for medical admission has to spend at least 10 lakhs rupees because in our report, we found that at least 71% of those who have appeared for the the NEET examination have appeared more than once. That means they are repeaters. They are repeating 2 times, 3 times, and at least in the second time or in the third time only majority students are succeeding. That means for 2 to 3 years, they have to spend about at least in our report, we said about 5 lakhs to 12 lakhs
Yes,
rupees. So averagely, a student has to spend about 10 lakhs rupees to get trained, coached for the NEET examination alone. And because of this rocketing, kind of a scandalous coaching mechanisms in this country, the country is making about 1.5 lakh crores or more than that per year for coaching alone. So it has a two-folded now. The commercialization of medical examination is two-folded. One is through the coaching, the students have to bear unbearable cost. The other is the students have to pay the hectic fee of about minimum 25 lakhs or 30 lakhs per year in the private medical colleges. So that means almost out of 1 lakh seats per year, almost 50% seats are in the private hands. So imagine more than 50,000 medical seats, UG seats per year, you see the fate, minimum 25 lakhs they have to pay. So this is the trend. So the very fundamental purpose of the NEET examination is now lost, that is eradicating commercialization. So in that manner,
Please continue.
So that is one aspect. That is one aspect of the story. Because the Parliamentary Standing Committee always quote as a premise upon which they introduced NEET examination, and they justified it. So now I am trying to convince and justify that it is not so. The second aspect is whether NEET as an examination, is it an academic examination or a competitive examination? It should be academic examination. Only then you can academically recruit the students. But beyond that, the NEET framework, the manner in which the examination has been designed is simply a kind of a competitive examination, not academically competitive examination. You compare NEET with SAT. The SAT is testing the knowledge, is testing not just simply to choose one out of the 4 answers given as a multiple choice, whereas you have to work out and then only you can answer in the SAT examination. The SAT has for the last 100 years had continually reviewed and self-introspected itself and found out there were so much of lacuna in the examination which were impeding and stalling the majority students competing for it and making it discriminate. So that is the reason the SAT has thousands of reports in the last 100 years of its existence. It studied and it rectified. So in the 8 years of its service, the National Testing Agency had it at least introspected one time in its lifetime as to its irregularities, as to its academic validity, as to its social validity, as to its validity for medical education. Nothing, not even one study. But at least the Tamil Nadu government had commissioned a high-level committee where we studied, and I played a very instrumental role in collecting the data, analyzing the data, writing the report. So I can give you the first-hand outcome of that report is that it is two-dimensional. One is academically, educationally, it is not even testing the academic abilities of the student. Any student entering medical education or any education for that matter, all over the world, including United States, UK, Australia, they all have entrance examinations. They are not using that marks alone. They are using other comprehensive marks from the higher secondary, from other aptitudes. The aptitude also they test. And the aptitude also they test for medical aspirants, and comprehensively they evaluate a student. Whereas here we have centralized and focused as one point, single point agenda need. That is the single aspect that qualify a student for medical education. That is wrong. The other thing is this. Our report has come out with why it is academically not valid is that it is, first of all, it is not an academic assessment because it doesn't test the students based on a common educational core criteria as being done in the United States of America. In United States of America, all 50 governors about 15 years ago, they assembled and they came out with a common core criteria as a learning outcome based on which any educational board like CBSE, IB, or any educational boards can create and can prepare the students ready for that. So there is the discrimination and the biasness based on the context of the boards, different boards of examination have been eliminated and removed. So
Which
all
means,
students were
Anushka,
brought under the same line of the
excuse me, Professor. When you talk about the United States system, there is also the perception that while there is a centralized, criteria, the execution of that criteria is fairly decentralized. Are you suggesting something like that here also?
No, it is the execution is also decentralized because that criteria is not a rule, is not a curriculum. That is the difference between India and the United States. It is just only an advisory. And SAT examination is not by the government. It is a private body, a college board named. And that board is a trust. And that is conducting, it is a private body. But why people are trusting the private bodies? Because it is neutrally, without discrimination, it is trying. But most of the Ivy League universities like Harvard University, California Berkeley University, Stanford University, CIT, all have now rejected the SAT examination. And they are recruiting based on a comprehensive assessment. So that means
Okay.
India, so that means the centralization, decentralization, it is decentralized. In the United States, it is decentralized. The Chinese examination, GOKO, it is a common entrance examination in China for most of the studies. And that also was decentralized, even though it is conducted nationally. Because the states have the stakes in the examination itself, in in setting the question paper. So everywhere it is very composite, balanced. That is how the entrance examinations there in those countries are doing well. But also, at the end of the day, it is not just only the common entrance examination score. It is the higher secondary score. It is aptitude, and also the psychometric analysis also is done, especially for the medical aspirants. But whereas here it is not. So our report has come out with a few points as to reject the validity, academic validity of the NEET. Number one, biasness, because it is based on the CBSE score, based on the NCERT syllabus. So 85% of the students in this country are going through state board examinations. So that means students are prepared for different learning outcomes. Whereas here, they are conducting examination only based on the CBSE. That means it is biasness. So biasness is the one factor that we say academically not valid.
It is also in a sense very elite.
It's elite also. Elite also.
Yes.
Another factor we said we refuted it academically is that it is fostering coaching, not learning. Learning is the core objective of the academic function. And based on the learning only, academic achievement test assessment should be conducted. So academic achievement should be conducted based on the learning, not based on the coaching. Whereas here I told you in the beginning, there is more than 1.5 lakh crore businesses there in this country. preparing the students for coaching the students for the NEET. So that means it shows that it is fostering the coaching, and also the learning is undermined. Because of that, the students are groomed in a very in a very unusual manner away from educational process. They are not fit to enter into medical education. That is second. The other third is predictability of this NEET examination. The NEET examination has no predictability, because there was no study in this country undertaken by the National Testing Agency or any other agencies on its predictability. Predictability means predicting the quality of the students entering the medical examination. SAT examination is conducting every year its predictability. Predictability means, are we, through the NEET examination, are we recruiting the proper qualified knowledgeable students to enter into medical education or not? Whether our NEET examination is achieving the prediction. We are predicting that we are going to get standard students, quality students. Is it really happening or not? Is what predictability is about. So we said that
what is, excuse me, what is the kind of criteria that you would want to ensure this predictability?
The predictability is that the examination should be tested. The question paper, the examination scheme, it should be tested whether it really qualifies the students with the relevant knowledge and skills. The relevant knowledge and skills necessary for medical education or not. Have you done it? National Testing Agency didn't do that. And we have proved in our report, because it is not assessing the academic achievement, the cumulative academic achievement a student has pursued for the last 12 years until his 12th grade has been lost. So it would not predict, even if the National Testing Agency conducted an experiment, an investigation on it, it would surely find out that it is not predicting quality students entering into medical education. So that is the test we have to do, assessment, where they have to review it annually to rectify it. So predictability is lost. The other thing is, NEET examination is vulnerable to social injustice to medical education entry into medical education and medical service. So we have identified about 9 major criteria influencing the social injustice of people entering into medical education. So that means the people from poor background, people from rural background, people who studied vernacular like Tamil or Malayalam, and people from government schools, and people from first graduate family students, students from the first generation graduate, and
Right.
also students who have, So based on all these 9 criteria, we found that all these students before NEET, after NEET, we have compared the record. Before NEET, 10 years, I have taken the record, analyzed statistically. After NEET, about 5 years data I have collected, and we compared both, and we found out that a large scale discrimination of the people, of majority people from different social backgrounds have been affected, and they were prevented from entering into medical education. So this is the most important impact, a scathing impact on an assault, I would say, on medical education this NEET has created. Why?
Because I was going through the report, and you seem to suggest that that before NEET was introduced in Tamil Nadu, people from financially poorer backgrounds and marginalized communities, their representation was close to 60%, but it has dropped dramatically. And what is the kind of drop? What is the kind of drop that you have seen?
Yeah, it is the poor people from poor backgrounds have been dropped, radically. Say, for instance, the government school students. The government school students were, even before the NEET, were also faring not too well. But at least about 19%, 20% students got admitted into medical colleges before NEET, from the government school students. And after the NEET in 2017, it was 0, right?
0.
So that means from at least 0 in the year 2017. And that's why the government of Tamil Nadu introduced a 7.5% reservation to government school students in after 2018, 19, I guess, 19 or 20. And afterwards, at least a couple of hundred students are going, but it is nominal. See, the World Medical Education Federation is saying students from rural background, students from all social demographic backgrounds, like religious, social backgrounds, and also from poor social background and rural background, and all other backgrounds should be attracted to medical education. Only then medical education will be complete in the sense to serve all sectors of the segments of the society. So that means it is fully proved. See, before the NEET, the rural students, after the NEET, the rural students dropped by 12% approximately. 12% dropped after the NEET. So comparatively, in all respect, you look at the Tamil medium student and English medium student. It was completely a reverse, a top side down. Previously, it was so well doing, and after the NEET, only English medium students. And also CBSE students, imagine it was at least, it was in single digits, sir. It was in single digit before NEET, the CBSE students entering into medical. But now after the NEET, they are around 50%. I don't know exactly. It's around 50%, I know. So that means how from a single digit to that much seats they have taken. So that means because it has been conducted based on CBSE syllabus, CBSE students are faring well. Because it facilitates, it is conducive to English-oriented medium education, and they are succeeding. Because it is, seeking huge investment in terms of coaching, and affluent family only can do. Because the two coaching centers are so located in the major cities like Chennai and others, so rural students are not able to go through coaching. So what are you doing? Is it education? Eh? Is it education or a lottery business? I feel it is a lottery business. It is a luck. And if you are a rural, it is your fate. And if rural students now, most of the urban students are now studying according to our report, both UG and PG. And these students, 99%, according to our record, 99% students have gone through some kind of coaching. And 71% of students are repeaters. So these students, do you think they are going to serve in the rural or in the government hospitals? No. Our record has predicted, because we didn't have much time, because it was introduced after introducing this in 4 years, we have studied it. But also we have found out in the PGs that those who are studying, completed the PG, the first batch after the NEET, most of them have gone to private sector. It is our report.
Right.
So that means that it is private sector is booming. Commercialization is going to happen more and more in the service, in terms of medical service I'm talking about. So medical.
But you're also saying the report has a very interesting aspect on the quality of doctors that is being produced by the NEET system. You are saying that the kind of standards that the fallen standards is such that that Tamil Nadu may get into a situation of a pre-independence quality of medical service. I mean, how do you justify an argument like that?
At that time, I tell you, what happened, the super specialty doctors, most of these students entering into these PG programs were almost 99% were people belonging to Tamil Nadu. And after the NEET, it was made 100% all India quota. So that means everyone contesting equally from all other states, from other backgrounds, can equally contest for the state admissions. So in that case, once it was 99% in the PG admissions, reduced to very much less than, I don't know exactly, but it is more than 70% from the other states. So what had happened, the students coming from other states entering to these highly sensitive, highly expensive super specialty courses, they study here and they go back to other states, or even if they go back to their own states and serve in their government hospitals, welcome. but they are not going to do. So they would go to the private hospitals in their states and they would go. So because of that, and we foreseen that we would lack the super specialty doctors in our government hospitals. And we foreseen it at that time. But after the NEET report, the government contested in the court of law and we secured 50% seats at least for the state. And now at least fairly
Okay.
we are doing. But also our prediction on the other dimension on this aspect is again commercialization. The students now again are coming under the 50% quota in the state also, or going for NEET training, coaching, and they are aspirants for private sector healthcare. So that means they are again going to the private sector, maybe will be going to the private sector. So in that sense that the government public health sector will be spoiled and the public will be lost. So that is why we said that it will be taking back to the basics once we were.
So you're saying that fundamentally the NEET examination has does not have a logic. It only it is working against its own proclaimed objectives of ending commercialization. In fact, it has aggravated commercialization. So what is the alternative system that you are suggesting?
The alternative, I would emphasize the recommendations we made. It should be based on higher secondary examination because 85% of the seats are still vested with the state governments. Only 15% comes under the national quota. So that means let the states decide as to what to do. But in Tamil Nadu, we decided to go with the higher secondary examination because it is well designed, it is well monitored, it is a proven tested, time-tested, proven mechanism where there will be no irregularities, no paper leakages, no mass copying. It's not possible in Tamil Nadu. So that means that also academically it is valid because it is testing the academic ability accumulated over 12 years. And that is very important. It is academic achievement test, not just a competitive test. So in all respect, it is the valid system. But the question comes now is whether the question paper leak or irregularities or even the coaching, the students from based on the coaching centers would also not occupy the medical admissions even through the higher secondary or not. It is, yes, it was. Those days, the students pursued higher secondary also were coached by tuition centers, coaching centers, but not like this. But the schools itself became a coaching centers, like Namakkal district is the famous for us, for in Tamil Nadu. Even one school prepared the students, 100 students at least per school, who would get medical admission those days when higher secondary was. So that means these schools are not also teaching. They were coaching also. But we have suggested certain reforms in the education system to the Tamil Nadu government. One is the testing should be based on the knowledge testing, academic assessment, no memorizing or no rote kind of examination. So that reform should be taken. So both teaching, learning and also examination reform, if done, then easily that part, the coaching, the students coming through coaching could be curtailed even in higher secondary examination. So there will be a equality to all walks of life. That is one thing. The other thing is, you could ask whether the rural students were faring better than the urban students in the higher secondary examination or not. Even in the higher secondary examination, the English medium students and the rural students and the other social disadvantaged students were faring a little lesser than the opposite students. Yes, but for that matter, what we have suggested is we introduced the concept of adversity score framework. That examination has done it 4 years ago, few years ago, reprofiling of the marks using the adversity score. So that reprofiling, they identified the adversities, 31 adversities in America, and they use that adversity criteria, and based on that, they have come out with some adversity profiling formula with weightages, and they used this mechanism on the SAT score, and they reprofiled it so that all disadvantaged students from the disadvantaged social demographies and systems would be reprofiled so that they get justice. So that we have recommended in our report that we have identified in Tamil Nadu 9 adversities, and these 9 adversities we have to, and that adversities can be continually monitored. There may be new adversities as well. And these adversities should be weighted, and using some kind of mathematical reprofiling mechanism, we have to reapply to the scores achieved by the higher secondary students so that it will be leveled, so that those who are facing the adversities will be given a kind of a compensation, and based on that we will get social justice, and we will get students from all walks of. So that means higher secondary examination with reforms in teaching learning and reforms in examination, so that they, by simply coaching, they cannot come and get marks. That is the second. And the third is adversity score reprofiling. And together, if these three are done at state level, and it is very much easy, and it will render justice, and will ensure, as per the World Medical Education Federation, as suggested by this federation, it will ensure that people from all walks of life are entering medical education, so that they are going back to their basic, to their social background, and they would serve, so that the health service, medical service would not be jeopardized.
Professor Jawahar, while your solution and the way you have kind of described it, it kind of sounds very logical and very rational. But the problem is, that higher secondary examinations are not conducted with the same kind of vigil that you have in South Indian states, especially states like Kerala and South India. If you go to North India, the kind of rampant copying that is happening, the absence of systems. So I think one of the reasons why an examination like NEET was proposed in the original place was because of these fundamental problems in the examination system in large parts of India, including in some parts of South India. But what you are saying is kind of, perhaps it is okay, it is good for Tamil Nadu, it is good for perhaps Kerala. But how do you address the national situation with the system that you are proposing? Because you are coming from a system where in North Indian states, even the fundamental basic educational systems, the infrastructure is very much poor. So one needs to look at that also. What is your opinion on that?
It's a very good question. The answer is, now, because Bihar is allowing mass copying, and that happens in the higher secondary exam also in Bihar, and it had also happened in the NEET. So let Bihar have its own mechanism. So throughout the state, let all schools copy. Among the best copying people, they can find out the best copying students, and let them decide how to fix the problem. So now you have now nationalized it. Now take Kerala and Bihar, no copying. Even the underwear is tested here. Such a rigid, verification before entering the campus in the NEET. Whereas in Bihar, it is papers are leaked, and the time loss is a factor there, and also mass copying is also allowed there. So if Tamil Nadu, Kerala is sitting for the examination in a strict manner, and Bihar and the other states are allowing the mass copying and things, and is it rendering justice now? So that means if it is a state matter, and if the state is asked to render to come out with a mechanism, they will iteratively try to trial and error come out with the best mechanism. It has been going on. So before NEET, whether this was an issue in Bihar or not, in Gujarat or not, now it is a problem now after NEET. Why? Because you have centralized. There are some good, honest students writing. There are some bad, cheating students are writing. The cheating students are coming, and the strict, honest students are victimized. And this is because of the NEET. If it has been made as a state, matter, and if the state is delegated to take care of medical admission, and as per the state list, entry 32 in the state list, the state is empowered to regulate admissions. So let it be a state matter. Let the state decide. So if the whole state is corrupt, within the corrupt, there will be no discrimination. Now there is a discrimination between
Well,
Tamil Nadu and Bihar. In that manner, there is a discrimination only in the NEET. But there was no discrimination, right or wrong. Bihar was doing well in admissions, right or wrong, before NEET. But now Bihar is contesting Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And students from Tamil Nadu, Kerala doing strictly, honestly, are now at stake.
your argument is that NEET has to be scrapped. There are no two opinions about it. See, there is a stream of opinion among medical professionals also that we can do with some modifications in NEET, that some course correction is possible. But your argument is that NEET has to be scrapped completely, and we have to come up with a different system.
They don't understand what education means, whoever is supporting NEET. The thing is, as I told you, academically it is invalid because it is academically biased. It is not testing academic achievement. It is testing only the aptitudes and other competitive stuffs. And then it is promoting coaching, not learning. And it is against the social justice. So based on all these things, it is unfit. So now those who are suggesting, NEET in favor of NEET do not understand that these issues. Your first part of the question is that if the irregularities are addressed, malpractice is eliminated, would it be good or not? Would it become a standard, a meritorious system? That is your first part of the question. The question is, as I said, academically it is invalid, it is not. The second part of the question is, even if you rectify the irregularities, let us also trust this central government. I don't mind. Let them come out with plugging the holes, the loopholes. And who is going to conduct? National Testing Agency or some X or Y? And who is National Testing Agency? Full of bureaucrats, administrators, not educators. Say, compared to National Testing Agency and the State Department, Education Department test examination, higher secondary examination, I mean, if you compare both, say take for instance Kerala, Karnataka, this state, Tamil Nadu, what happens? There is a Directorate of School Education and there are CEOs at district level, DEOs and other local level authorities controlling, monitoring, learning, teaching, curriculum delivery until the examination. The whole life cycle is monitored closely, regularly, continuously until the final examination happens. There is not at all a possibility to make it irrelevant, or irregularities can be minimized. Whereas in the NEET, National Testing Agency doesn't know anything about it. It is not an educational body. It is an administrative body. It has a headquarter, but it lies on the people at the bottommost level, at operational level, who are newcomers. They are not permanent people looking after or within the part and parcel of the system. They are newcomers, and the centers are rigged, and centers are taken over by the NEET centers are taken over by the middlemen. So that means why middlemen comes. And the NEET centers, testing centers at operational level at schools, who is monitoring? It is NTA. So NTA doesn't have the muscle and strength. Even if it reinvent and come out with the best practice, it cannot in a diverse country like this. So NTA, National Testing Agency, is an unfit body. It's not an academic body. It doesn't have the permanent mechanism.
Of course, as I was saying earlier also, the rationale and the logic of the Tamil Nadu report, the report which you also, helped bring out, that is very, very, very solid. But again, as you yourself rightly pointed out, it cannot be seen as a Tamil Nadu issue. It cannot be seen as a Kerala issue. It is a national issue now. Even the minister has been forced to accept it, that irregularities are there. And also, there are responses from people like Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, who may, in all probability, be the leader of opposition in the next Lok Sabha that has got convened today. So, what is the response that you are getting from other states, from leaders like Rahul Gandhi? What is the response you are getting to the kind of very strong and concrete proposals that you have made in your report?
I think that the other states are not at all aware of the report. Actually, once we completed the report, immediately in just 2 months, the government of Tamil Nadu had translated in 12 languages, all leading languages, and they publicized it and put it in the public forum in the portal. It was freely available. And also some campaign was made around at that time by the government of Tamil Nadu, and they sent the emissaries. I remember the health secretary was sent to a few states like Kerala and Maharashtra, and they met the chief ministers and they enlightened them, and they also reflected at that time. But at that time, people around the other states, they thought that it was a Tamil Nadu's issue, whereas it was not. And we wanted to debate around. We are not saying what we have come up with is the only right thing. We are sure, we know that it is right. But if you have any objections, we can debate around and find out a wonderful solution. But that did not happen. There was no debate at all. So that was the past. But now, once this has become a major scandal, a scandalous issue now, so sensitive, and it is the people health and the medical health. And this has been jeopardized and it is at stake now. And even at this time, I found that the other states are not understanding the reality. The reality is the academic validity of the NEET examination.
What about national politicians?
Yeah, I'm coming to that point.
Yes, yes.
So it is about academic validity, legal validity, and then testing validity. In all respect, NEET has been a failure. But the national leaders, the other states are seeing this as only a matter of corruption, malpractice, and scandal. And they are trying to fix it. They might fix it or not. But the thing is, as I told you, that it is not going to end this matter, and it is going to be a live matter every then and now, and it is going to continue. But leaders like Rahul Gandhi should first understand this is not just irregularity matter. It is not a matter of just corruption or the malpractices by middlemen interventions or not. But it is a matter of health, and it is a matter of health service. So the medical education is at stake now. And because of this, because it is commercialized and because it is of high stake and because it is misled academically, and medical services will be affected. Why Rahul Gandhi is not taking up this issue all round? Because I don't know. I'm not charging Rahul Gandhi. He's a good leader. He's emerging and he's trying to do good also, I guess. But this was not invented. This was initially discussed by the Congress-led government during Manmohan Singh period. And anyway, past is past. And afterwards, it was worsened under the BJP regime. So now Rahul Gandhi should take this matter as an opposition leader, would be opposition leader, and all other leaders also should take this matter in the interest of the health of the people and in the rightness of medical education. That means it is a holistic 360-degree around. They have to look at around, not just only from the perspective of irregularities and only from the perspectives of scandal and the corruption. It is tip of the iceberg. So that means more than that, I request leaders like Rahul Gandhi to go around and look at the academic, social, and the health service related impacts NEET had made. And NEET is against all these things and it should be scrapped. And they are requesting only the remedies as a short-term remedy to fix this corruption. But that is not the case. But Rahul Gandhi should voice for total elimination and scrap of the NEET once for all from the country and thrown out of this country. That is not happening. That is my request to all other states and all other leaders, including Mr. Rahul Gandhi.
Thank you, Professor Jawahar Nesan. I'm sure that you know that since you are an authority on this, especially the medical education system in this country, and we'll have to come back to you repeatedly to kind of seek advice and seek your directions. We will do that. The item will continue. The item and Risala update will continue to do that. Thank you very much for giving us the time and also the kind of understanding that has gone into the production of your report. I hope that this report gets more traction across the country and people realize that this is not only a Tamil Nadu issue, but an issue which is relevant across the country and important to all the people of this country. Thank you very much.